One of the consistent fears I've had going on these photography trips has been falling ill, or breaking gear, or losing gear. While on this trip to Zion, I did fall ill, and it resulted in me having to cut my trip short by about 2 days. But I also consistently battled fatigue, and the interesting thing is, despite those feelings, while camping and looking up at the stars each night, I still couldn't wait to get back out there and photograph. This evening featured in this episode was my final full day in Zion, and my last photos were taken on this evening. It was a great ending to my trip, and it's been a pleasure to get to share it with you all. But I'm also excited and ready to move forward and set my sights on Death Valley. So as I was walking through this woodland area here with all of these beautiful cottonwood trees that still surprisingly have plenty of color and leaves on them, it's absolutely makes for beautiful scenery all around, and you're just walking all around and seeing potential compositions. And I was just thinking about how I was here exploring this area about 5 days ago. And it's one of the first areas of Zion that I actually photographed with my friend Justin. And it's interesting how inspiration changes as the days progress on. And for me, usually, the longer I stay in a location, the more and more my levels of inspiration kind of start dropping and dropping. Because I can tell you, when I was first here exploring this area, I was just seeing composition after composition, and I had a really productive day. I think I photographed 10 or 11 different scenes. By no means am I saying that all of them were like award-winning images, but I think I had maybe 1 or 2 keepers from that day. And now as I'm walking through this area, I'm struggling, to be honest with you. I'm struggling to find composition. And I think it's just due to, one, having been here already for quite a few days, and then the other thing too is just the fact that I haven't been feeling too well. So I've come across this composition here, which is a beautiful cottonwood tree with so much character to it, and we have some broken down tree branches on the foreground. And then the canyon walls in the background, providing a nice contrast of color. And so I'm at F11, focusing in on the main cottonwood tree. And I do think it's a lovely scene. It's another one of those scenes where I really had to just work the composition, and try different angles and kind of see what works best. So I'll go ahead and show you the image now. I'm going to try and hike a little further down because there's an area that still has a lot of really vibrant yellow leaves, and so I kind of want to explore that a little bit more before calling in an evening. you know, at this point I think it's getting old. But I'm going to continue saying the same thing, and that's just the importance of working the composition. I think when you come across a scene that really catches your eye, find what you love most about the scene and really just continue working the composition. And what I mean by that is, you know, your eye sees in a very different way than the camera sees, and especially depending on the type of lens that you have, it sees a certain way. And so whatever idea you may have in your mind is going to translate quite differently with the camera. For example, this scene here. It's caught my attention since the first time I explored this area, and I have stood here in many different types of light. And one morning I was photographing here where there was a lot of harsh backlight, and it looked quite nice, but I didn't photograph it because I couldn't work out the composition. And so tonight, since I have the time, what I've done is just really figured out the crop that I want and what I really want to emphasize on. And I realized that to really capture the essence of this scene and what I love most about it, I need to include some of the canyon wall. And I've done just that. It's still going to be a 4x3 crop for me, but I've zoomed out enough to about, I think, 100 mil or so, where I'm including the canyon wall because it's nicely backlit by the sun right now. Besides that, it's very contrasting colors, you know, the trees, the cottonwood trees, and then you have some smaller trees in the lower foreground. It just provides a nice contrast of colors. So this is F11, and focusing in on the trees, and yeah, just really beautiful scene. And again, just so important to work the composition, take your time, find what you love most about it, and figure out a way with your camera of how to emphasize that beauty that catches your attention, I should say. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and show you the image now, and I'm going to continue hiking through and exploring this area a little bit more because we still have, I would say, another good hour or so of decent light. Well, I'm realizing that, you know, depending on how I feel tomorrow, this may very well be my final image this year here in Zion, and my final video in Zion. So, I still have one more day to go here, but based on how I've been feeling, I don't know that I'll make it to sunrise and get up that early. It's been a beautiful evening though, I can't complain. This area I really love because there's just so much potential, especially during the fall. So much beauty all around. So I've I found my final composition for the night, and it's a similar scene to, I don't know, I want to say a couple videos ago at this point, something like that. Basically, this dead cottonwood tree, but it has so much character to it because it is significantly white, and in the glowing reflective light that we're getting, it is very much emphasized how much it stands out from the scene. It's a 4x3 crop, which I'm probably going to reduce to a 4x5. I'm not quite sure yet, but we'll see. But yeah, it's quite lovely, you know. It really just captures the center of the attention of the frame, and just those contrasting colors, which I very much love. So, F11, focusing in on the main tree, and yeah, really beautiful scene, really beautiful evening. You know, I was a little late to fall color here in Zion, but I gotta say, the color that I have seen is absolutely beautiful, and a time of year that I've never been to before here in Zion, so it's been great to explore it. But anyways, I'm going to show you the image now, and this may be it, this may not be it. We'll, I guess you'll find out soon enough. I just realized I don't know that I've seen deer running that fast. So I was just photographing one more scene, and you know, I didn't really film it or anything like that, but I think it may have been my favorite image so far of this trip. And it may very well be my last one, though I know I said that in my previous image. Well, I've got a bus to catch, guys, so I've got to pack it up now and start heading back to camp. If this is the final one, I appreciate everyone that's tuned in for every episode. It means a lot. I hope you've enjoyed this series and the content, and yeah, I'm pretty happy with the images I've gotten on this trip. Zion is just such a beautiful, special place, and there's nothing like Zion in the fall, I can tell you that now. So, if you're tuning in for the first time, please consider subscribing, liking the video, sharing it with anybody you think may also enjoy this kind of content. And if you're returning again, thank you very much for taking the time to do so. I appreciate everyone's kind comments and feedback. And yeah, I think you know, the next time you'll see me, I may be in Death Valley, and it'll be January of 2020 by then. So that'll probably be my next series at this point. Right now, from where I am, I'm still getting through the Pacific Northwest content. But anyways, okay. Thank you very much again for tuning in, and you know, and I hope you enjoyed this story here in Zion. It's been a pleasure sharing it with you all. So until next time, everybody, from Zion, take care.